And once again, we freaked out the guests by the weird intro our maestros come up with and everything. So you know it's going to be a serious show after doing that. And once again, right from the North Pole, we have our favorite elf,
Hi.
Greg.
I was there was a sleigh crossing, and I got hung up, so, I was late getting here, so.
Hate it when that happens.
And there we go, off to a flying start
I think
with random inane comments.
After this intro, this is our holiday show. Call it whatever you want. Unless we get Santa next week, I doubt we're going to be recording.
We're live from the French Porkies. Oh no, wait, that's not right.
Well, pretty much, yeah.
Oh goodness! But hopefully now, after getting Greg out of the way, the show will improve by leaps and bounds.
Oh, hey,
nice.
Because France is lost in the World Cup is our game.
Oh,
sorry.
No.
You can block that one out when you play this in France.
Yeah.
But we're very thrilled to once have again now in the studio.
Yeah.
Remember, thank you Patreon for supplying the jet so we could fly her in. We have Vicki Rummler.
Hey there. Thank you. Good to see you.
On. We're leaving. Okay, bye.
Good to be here. Okay. Yep.
And you could just, for the folks out there, update us about who you are. because obviously you're two hosts out in the fog today.
Right. Yeah, a little update. Well, I am originally I guess I was born in Michigan and I lived in Rochester for several years. But I've been based over in Europe for like the last almost 30 years, gotta say. I lived in Germany for 5 years. And I've been in Paris for many, many years. And I've been doing singer-songwriting stuff and jazz singing. And this latest project is actually my fourth album. It's kind of like a return, like back to my roots kind of thing that I did in Michigan.
I think we talked about this on the last time, too, that I always called you a musical explorer. We were joking about you might do a children's songbook or something. We didn't know what you were going to do next.
Mm-hmm. That might actually happen because more people have mentioned that to me. They said, "Oh, you should really do a kids album." So that just might happen. That
you
might
have
be
to
in
do
the
it
works.
sly though, like those old, like if you read Shel Silverstein or something, where there's something for kids, but there's something for adults too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like you look at a lot of these cartoons when you're a kid, it goes over your head.
Yeah, right. Yeah, some of the old Bugs Bunny stuff.
Yeah,
totally.
I had like
sophisticated.
Maybe
for sure.
Maybe like some years ago, like maybe 5-10 years ago, I decided to fill in my gaps in what I read. So I read like a lot of these children's books, and from an adult perspective, the stuff you pick out.
Yeah.
And then like I got really into Shel Silverstein for a while. Some of my friends did a play, and he's a really weird guy. You can see like why he would do all this stuff. But this is like a big question because of the time, Greg, Vicki. Jeez.
Present.
Okay, opinions.
Yes.
We rarely get political, but we will for once. Christmas music, like it, not like it, or you just like don't care?
I think it's a necessary, not evil, but it's a necessary part of the landscape.
Well, would you do like if somebody came up?
Music.
Okay, if somebody came up to you and said, "Okay, not say." Take money out of it and said, "We want you to drum on a Christmas album." Would you do it?
Hell yeah! Why wouldn't I? I mean, I like Christmas melodies. I mean, they're all very... They're based in old church things, the good ones. I mean, the standards. I mean, and the funny stuff, the novelty stuff is always fun to play. Like, I mean, I did the Christmas thing for Tommy Burnett a couple of years in a row at the Cub Room there. And everybody picks, like, somebody will do the Kinks Christmas thing, and somebody else will do, Grandma ran over a reindeer. Whatever.
Yeah. Watson and Rapiers is doing their annual Christmas show at the Little.
Who is?
Watson and Rapiers.
Oh, sweet.
They'll be doing theirs. Remember Dick Storms would do that Krampus song at the one, and the Who Knew Christmas.
What is that?
I don't think there was a Who Knew Christmas they used to have it down at the Bop Shop. I don't know if they still do it anymore. It was like I remember Phil Marshall one year did Run Run Rudolph and everything. So.
But yeah, I mean, I like Christmas stuff. I mean, it's got a time span, so it's not like you get inundated with it for too long. I mean,
that's true.
It's all over the place, then it's not. So, I mean, but it gets you in the groove. I mean, without the lights, and it's all a package. And I hate, it is sort of a marketing thing. But, I mean, if you go back to the whole Christmas thing, I mean, a lot of that started in Germany, didn't it? The Christmassy
You can
stuff,
go...
I guess so, yeah.
You can go a long
the decorations
time, and they take basically cherry-picked from... so many different cultures and everything. You know, but I still love the idea of maybe you know this from living with the German pickle ornament too.
Oh, yeah.
Probably the weirdest thing I ever had happen to me was when I was traveling, and I was in Florida or somewhere with the band, you know, and it was Christmas, and I'm just like, well, this isn't Christmas, you know.
Oh, it doesn't feel like it, right?
It's so weird. I was in Miami. That's where I was.
Yep.
I mean, it was a heck of a fun Christmas, but I mean, it was fun being there, but it was like, it just doesn't seem the same.
There's like this scene in Bad Santa when it's Christmas and they go and it's Arizona.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it's different, though. And I don't know, I guess I like it. I mean, I like...
Well, my guilty pleasure is I always get like
Irving
a Christmas
Berlin's
CD.
estate, you know. That's what
Yeah. There's a joke about that, too, where it's like the musician goes in, well, I don't know what I'm going to do next. So, well, it's time for your Christmas album.
Yeah.
But I always get one. Every year I usually pick something out. Like I just got the Suffragettes single this year because I saw them. But like some I like you get like the artists who do them, too. There's a Jethro Tull one, Indie Man.
Oh, I'd like to hear that.
So I have a question for Vicki.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Being in Europe, because I've done some gigs in Europe. I was with a show band. I got lucky; they had Europe stuff, so we went to Baden-Baden and Zurich and a couple other places. And Norway. Oh my God, Norway is like another world.
Oh yeah.
But do you find is it easier or different to chart a course? Like, you know, like as opposed to going to New York City and trying to do what you're doing, that kind of thing. Is it more, maybe not easier, but there more doors open over there? It seems like, to me, I've always felt like different stuff is kind of more welcomed in Europe than it is, you know, it's like you don't have to fit into the box quite as much. But I don't know. You can tell me. Maybe I'm just thinking that, so I don't know.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to say because you do have that kind of advantage, especially singing jazz over there. If you're American, they're like, oh, an American jazz singer. So you do have that kind of edge of being like the exotic person. So maybe some doors were open because of that, or I just immediately had some credibility.
Right.
On the other hand, I get the impression that people aren't, like other musicians don't share their contacts as much as they would, like in New York City. I think from what I hear, they're better about saying, oh, yeah, just call him and, you know, he'll set you up with whatever. But I think in France, at least, they're a little more protective of their contacts that they work really hard on. So it's taken me quite a while to actually find my niche.
When I was doing that thing over there, we were in Norway in a little shipping village and playing at the bar.
Nice.
And there was a rock band there, like a long-haired dudes, you know, blonde hair, of course, you know. And this one guy, the drummer, and I got to be kind of friends, and, you know, I was showing him things, and he was showing me some stuff. And it was, like, really neat. He gave me one of his CDs, and they're singing in Norwegian, and it's like, oh, it's, like, pretty wild. But it's hard rock, you know. But it's neat when the mix, and that's the same thing I found with that band, is that because we did a lot of R&B and soul and whatever, and country. It was like they went nuts for country and like black music and things like that. And it was like, you know, it just, that was, you know, obviously it was 80s, it was a long time ago, but still, there is that whole thing, like, it gives you that extra uniqueness, you know?
Yeah, so that's
selling
good.
point.
Yeah, and I always thought that if I ever, like, moved to New York, I would probably sing in French, so I could have the exotic thing coming back over here, you know?
Yeah, that would be
and I love it. I love,
cool,
like I had this crush on Francois Hardy for years. I love Serge Gainsbourg stuff.
Yeah.
And Bridget Fontaine and all those. And obviously, when I'm listening to it, I have no idea what they're saying. They could be saying, I'm making a macaroni and cheese sandwich. I'm in love. I'm in love.
With my macaroni and cheese sandwich.
Yeah, it does sound pretty, right?
I'm going to take a boot and stuff it down your face.
Yep, it's true.
But it just sounds so beautiful.
Yeah.
Then you'll have like somebody who speaks is going, idiot.
You can be called all kinds of names in every other language, and it sounds great.
There's something universal about music, though. That's the thing, and I think that's why it's such, especially these days, a positive force. And I think of the Stones. Like, think about that. Like, they just had the European tour. I don't think everybody speaks English.
Right.
And I actually love, like, you'll see some bands, I mean, Peter Gabriel's done it, where, like, he'll speak German if he's in German.
Cool. Yeah, for sure. I love to do that.
Having more brains than I could ever have.
Yeah,
Did you ever listen to the Italian pop show on RUR on Saturdays? There's one, it's at 1 o'clock, I think. And it's this guy, he spins all this Italian pop. and he's an Italian DJ, and it's really cool because the melodies are awesome, and like everything sounds a little like ABBA-ish, you know.
Cool.
But it's really neat to hear like what pop is to them.
Yeah, for sure.
That. Yeah.
You know, this is like a theory of mine too, and I could be totally off too. Like wherever you like, whatever part of the world you're, like, okay, sometimes it costs a little for instruments. You're gonna like, where some of the music originated was, what could you play? Maybe someplace if you're really poor, you were like, you know, banging on drums, so it's got more like of a drum beat.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Right.
Yeah, you use what you got.
For sure.
Wooden fluty things or whatever they had at their disposal at the time.
That's why, like soccer, like the way soccer is, all you need is like a ball, maybe a couple pylons for, you know, not like hockey where you gotta get all like
I know, right?
everything else.
Yeah, no, you work with what you
soccer,
have.
They don't bother guarding anything. It's just like, you know, you bust a tooth, hey, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
Either you play or you don't.
Yeah.
No, that's like the beauty of that. Like, you're like, oh, the guy gets knocked out. We're just going to keep playing. We'll just get the time
Just
on.
kick him out of the way. Like,
But like, since being over there for so long now, what have you seen, like, subtly or not, like, when you come back here in terms of culture, the differences? Because my view is, like, people are nice wherever you go, as long as you're not a jerk. Basically. But, like, something you were going, wow, I never really noticed. That's really different. Like mayonnaise on fries, maybe, or something.
When I come back, or when
you come here or there, you know, you can
either
flip
way.
both.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I do always enjoy coming back here. I think I don't know if it's changed that much. It always feels really great to come back here, for sure.
Are people more in a hurry or less in a hurry? Or
I
any of
guess
that kind
the
of stuff?
thing I would say is that in the past, I always used to think it was really easy to strike up conversations with people in the U.S., like on planes, and maybe I don't get that feeling as much
now
anymore.
I get, because I walk a lot, and I just tend to notice. I can, like, if I know you, I'm really friendly. If I don't, I'm sort of distant, but I'm polite. I love to say hi. Make sure I say hi. You'll get people out when you walk, and you just go by. You get some people talk like they'll have a dog. You'll say, you know, talk to them. Other people will just give you, like...
I'm always afraid I'm going to overdo it because if
No, I don't
somebody
overdo.
starts
I'm
out-
always like, well, you know,
Yeah,
what kind
so I
of
feel
dogs
people
that or
are a bit
whatever. I
more
know
distanced
dogs, and I'm
than-
distant because you never know. Honestly, it's sad to say, but you know, you never know these days. Some good characters
Yeah, but
out
yeah,
there.
whatever.
But you're
20,
like, oh, you're
25
cute.
years
Dog's
ago.
cute. You know, see, you have a good walk, but
Yeah.
not even like they won't even look at you like when you walk by.
Yeah. So there's maybe that.
And then, not only that, but like for me, and yes, I don't dress up tons when I walk, but like I've been mistaken as a crazy homeless guy. Some guy comes up and he's like, wait,
don't know.
gives me $20. I'm like, no.
really?
And then all my friends are
I'm
going,
going to give you a run for the money today. The way I
all my friends are going, why did you take the money?
Yeah, right? Well, no.
No, I told him, look, I said I do a show. For what it's worth, I was going to
Rob,
mention you
Rob,
did this
I've
really
been telling
nice.
you got to wash the hat once in a while. Wash the hat.
Yeah, your hat is clean,
Sorry.
isn't it?
That's what-
Let's clean this
That's a
thing. Look at
clean
that.
hat. Okay.
That's why the guest sits in the middle.
Right. Oh, dear. Yeah, but there's
No,
that, and I think
poor
in France, people are less formal than they used to be somehow. They seem to be a little bit more friendly in Paris.
Is it
At
like
least
the same Paris countryside, or is it different? Like,
it is different.
because I've heard that a lot. There's Paris. And
Yeah.
and I couldn't live in Paris, so unless they got rid of them, though, because I used to I was addicted to those eclairs.
Yeah.
I've always had weird food memories, like in Austria, the mustard,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure.
in Russia, the horse meat.
Oh, huh. All right. Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you've been to Russia, huh?
But yeah, no, Paris.
Back when it was communist.
Oh,
As if
wow.
it's gotten better now, wink.
Wow.
Is that where you got the hat?
Nice. You guys.
Well, you know, the weird thing when I was there, though, like, okay, you get off. I'm like, I want to talk to the soldiers because they're all over the place. So I
wow.
pretend I was lost. And like one of them, okay, you think, you know, stern. The guy's laughing his head off. I'm like trying. General comes up to me, shows me which way to go.
Oh, that's good. They didn't like,
I didn't
arrest
see
you or
them on
anything.
like
That's
and I'm
cool.
like in the.
Wow.
Only person they got was there somebody on the plane, had to be a total idiot. He had all these things wrapped in foil.
All right.
They're granola bars.
Oh.
They shoved them in a back room.
Wow.
Oh, my
wow.
gosh. Yeah. Uh-oh. It was
Obviously
never heard from again.
Didn't read the rules, yeah.
Oh,
In
dear.
And
a
I
dark
try. I
hole,
love to
in a
read up
dark
on
place.
customs. There's actually a book on beer I read where all the different customs. It wasn't really about the beer, but like in Europe, all the customs of like all the different places when you went in or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's, I guess, in Czech Republic, I guess the male's supposed to go in first in case there are any ruffians in the bar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that. And in Paris, the the restaurants are really small. All the time, you have to pull out the table so one person can sit on the bench against the wall, and they push the table back in, and people are really close. But
It's like swans here.
yeah, but
Well, that's something I noticed over there. They're much more economical with things.
Well,
And everything
less
is sort of
space.
like apartment size mentality.
Yeah.
Like if you had a small flat type of thing, none of this grandiose spread out lots of possessions. Kind of have what you need and all that kind of stuff.
But so traditionally, the woman is supposed to sit on the bench against the wall facing the restaurant, and the man is supposed to sit opposite her, so he can only see the wall. He can basically only look at her,
Wow.
whereas she can look at the whole, everyone
That's
else in the
interesting.
restaurant. I mean, that's the traditional thing, but it's kind of funny.
And lots of people bringing animals in.
Oh, yeah, much more than the
Yeah,
U.S.
yeah.
Yeah, a little.
I remember that.
A little
I like
poodle.
that. That's
Putting them in
Sit
their
under
little
the chair.
bags and stuff.
Sure, yeah. Uh-huh.
That I like.
Much more common
that
than
I
in the
like.
U.S.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But again, I know we've talked about this before. What were some of your influences for music that
It's really gotten kind
you
of...
seem like you're all over the place?
I am all over the place, but it was really interesting doing this album because there's a lot of guitar. I mean, I consider myself more of a vocalist first and then pianist. And then I've been playing guitar a little bit for about 10 years. But because it was an artist residency in a log cabin in the middle of the forest, there was no piano. So I started playing more guitar. So it took on more of a folk thing. And I was kind of like thinking about James Taylor and Karen Carpenter and the kind
you
of...
missed a movie.
that kind of
though.
melodic
That's a nice mix
thing.
right there.
You
Yeah,
missed the
yeah.
short. You missed like a short movie. You could have been great. Attempting to haul a Steinway up the mountain.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, I mean, even just getting to the cabin with my suitcase, I didn't have a backpack, and the guitar, that was already a big deal. But so, yeah, I mean,
Interesting. Yeah.
those two, but then I've done a lot of like vocal jazz. So people like Mel Torme and, Sarah Vaughan, Anita O'Day definitely are in there too. Cause there's, I like to scat, I like to improvise. And then I kind of go a little bit further with, I don't know if you know this Portuguese singer named Maria João,
No.
who's really unusual. She improvises and she has this really wide range, doing stuff that sounds kind of like a flute, and then she does this really low. And then
This one is a band I saw. Well, everything's like pre-2020. It's a band called Daka Braka. And I think they might, I don't know if they're Ukrainian, but the one guy in it, so it's two women and the guy. And I guess they come in. The stuff's great. It's all like different, like everything. He's doing these bird noises, like
cool.
the faster the.
Yeah. No, and there's just so much you can do with the voice too. That's what I really love too.
Game
It's
of
like really
sumac.
push the limits, and yeah, definitely, and trying out different sounds. And for this album too, because I recorded it all by myself, so I had to lay down a lot of vocals to kind of flesh it out. Yeah. So
You think you can transcribe though, like any song to a different instrument or not? I've asked harpists that before when they've done them. You think it would be like, okay, it would just work or be a novelty, like sometimes, or it just wouldn't fly, maybe for some.
sure, I think depending how you do it, even for drums,
Yeah. I mean,
it's definitely gets lost in translation a little bit.
I'm
But
thinking
yeah,
like Norwegian
creativity.
You mentioned
Yeah.
Norwegian death metal on keyboards.
I mean, I got a lot
Why
from
not?
like when Mel Lewis used to play. Not Mel Lewis.
Mel Torme?
No, the Max Roach.
Oh,
yeah.
Max Roach. When Max Roach would play, a lot of his signature when he did solos, his toms were tuned a certain way. He'd like play the melody of the song
Yeah.
during a solo, and you could hear it. And I try to do some of that, and
Yeah.
or at least the form. Like take a solo and just play the A section, the B section, and all that, and come back. And usually, most guys get it.
Yeah, sure. Or like Ari Honig. Do you know
Yeah.
him? Yeah, like he did. He can play a lot of melodies on his drums.
And
It's
it's
fascinating, like pushing with his elbow to change the note.
Yeah. That's a fun show.
Yeah, cool.
I've seen Greg do like a solo. He'll throw the sticks up in the air, eat a bucket of fried chicken, and it'll come down.
Gotta love that.
Have you ever done like the Bonzo
Howie
thing? though?
Mandel like that? No.
Have you ever done the Bonzo thing though? Like where you've done, then you start doing with the hands.
Yeah, yeah, it hurts. And I'll tell you, I don't have big hands. Like
I
he
didn't
does,
know
so I
that.
don't know.
Zephyr.
Gotta see that.
Yes, that's what John. But I think he used to do like the 20 minutes, do Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Throw the sticks where you start doing.
Yeah, I know. He had a timpani next to him, too. Like, I'm not
Nice.
sure what he did with it, but I think he hit it with sticks. It sounds cool, though.
I always know, like, it's probably, made up apocryphal, but the old story about Buddy Rich, about, like, when he was on his deathbed, and he already hated, like, rock and roll musicians and everything, but I guess, like, those last words, and it's gotta be, you never know with Buddy, but he just said, dying's better than country music.
Oh, harsh.
Which is too bad, because I really, I like all kinds of music.
Well, the whole when music started changing in the 50s, that knocked a lot of those guys out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Noel
Sinatra
Coward
wasn't crazy about.
Noel Coward
guys
used to say
lost a
nasty
lot of-
stuff about the Beatles because that was like his, and Sinatra started wearing the Nehru jackets and
Right.
trying to be relevant.
Right.
But that's the beauty of like jazz too, I think too, because I think there's no limits. There's no limits to any music, but especially jazz. You can do, and you do like a lot of times. Like I'll find with jazz musicians, no songs twice. You do it twice when you play.
That's what I love about it too.
Herb
Absolutely.
Smith, one of the
Yeah.
best stories I've ever heard. So, like Herb was on the show, great guy, obviously. He is playing with his quartet, right? And he just goes, "This is like the best thing we've ever done this time on it." Because every time you do it,
Yeah, great.
it's
Yep.
just all used, and you have that when you're in the moment and you hit like just one of those performances.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I really, really love about jazz. You can do standard, hundreds of different ways. So depending on the night, how it comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the melody is almost like just a road map. It's just like, okay, here's the basic notes of the melody. Like if you ever look at a fake chart or whatever they call them there, and it's just the little melody. There's no embellishments, and then you get the bare melody, and then you can do what you want with it, and it's kind of neat. Then you have to know your scales and all that kind of stuff, but it's really neat because as long as you stay within the key and it all makes sense, you can do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think too, it's like even like on this show, like with us, I think it doesn't. You could have somebody who's like a great talent. I think if you're playing with somebody and you do anything, you need chemistry more than anything else. You get to read.
Definitely.
You could have like, because I know like sometimes like for acting, if somebody's going to ad lib, you might be working with somebody who just wants to follow the script and it will throw them right off. Mm-hmm. But if
Right.
like you might be playing with somebody who's just used to going by the book, and it's like, what did you just do? Or like
Yeah.
other people will just go with it and just realize.
Yeah, it is interesting. And it's interesting once in a while to work with people that aren't jazz musicians because they're like, oh, wait, no. And you have to do things the same
Yeah.
way. Otherwise, they're like, woo. So, yeah.
No, that's a question too. And like when we had Lily Winwood on, we did a Zoom with her, and it was just so funny. And I wonder what your reaction would be to this. So we asked her the one time about songwriting, about playing, and we asked her, "Okay, you like to collaborate with other people or not?" No.
Oh, really?
She just
a flat
likes
no.
to do it herself.
Wow.
So how do you feel about collaborating? When you do, is it sort of like everybody brings ideas, or I have the idea, and because you're obviously so much more talented than all the rest.
Oh, thank you. Well, it really depends on the project. It's been really interesting doing different albums because, for the first two, I would say it was really collaboration on the whole thing, the arrangements, and all the musicians had their ideas about things. For the third one, Take Two, it was a series of spontaneous collaborations, duos. With different guitarists, 5 different guitarists. Wow. And it was really, very little rehearsal. We just went into the studio and we're like, okay, let's see how this is going to work out, And so that was wow, really working without a net.
That way, though.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff came out of it.
You haven't done it before. Do like the Stones did with Something Blue, where they did a blues album in 4 days. Just played.
Yeah, right. And then this one, but I wanted to do it all myself once, and that was a big challenge of this last album.
Were you hit, in terms with this, were you hit by the C word in 2020? The word we will not speak on
Well,
the
that's
show.
the thing. Yeah, I almost didn't do the residency because it happened September
again,
2020.
I've brought it up before to everybody on here, but you're going along in your career. Life is great. All of a sudden, it's like, yuck. And then you think it'll go away in a month. It'll go away in 2030 probably. Right. And how did you have to shut down for playing and everything? Like a lot of people were really creative. I was going to write 10 books, maybe produce some albums. I could barely do my laundry.
Oh.
But I had friends. One friend did 4 albums.
Wow.
We did one Zoom thing for XXI with Anonymous Willpower. That was fun to do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had a thing here.
And you did. I know you did your Zooms a lot.
What they call it, music at home or home something like that. And
home stage, some
home
sound
stage,
stage.
yeah. And it was like, you could send your thing in to them, and then they would put it up on their site and whatever. And it was like pretty cool.
Well, I know you did them too because you were on my schedule.
Oh yeah, great.
Once I got the
Did you
time
see a
difference,
couple?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I would have, it was weird because I would have my calendar and it would be all the concerts on my computer all week. But some people reacted differently to it. I know some friends told me, I don't feel this. I don't have any, not getting any, except for your stupid comments.
Yeah, but technology kind of came to the rescue. I mean, it'd be that or nothing.
Or I would laugh like one of my friends would be on the ceiling because the way they did it.
Yeah, no, it was tricky. In the beginning, I was not into it at all. But then I started, thinking about, okay, this is a whole studio kind of thing, production, and I ended up getting into it. And it was cool. So I did that for a year. I did a half-hour live stream on Facebook every Sunday evening. Well, it was evening in Europe.
Yeah.
So it was around noon in the States. But yeah, there were people commenting, and it was actually kind of, you get a little bit nervous. You press live.
Could you do
go
it
live.
though? I know some people couldn't do that because for me, I would have to read everything. They'd have to answer them at the end. Or could you do it and play though, where you weren't so distracted?
Well, it was tough. I mean, I had to really concentrate. So it ended up being a really good, way to learn.
Well, a lot of people
I would tell stories, and I was doing French and English.
Music is fun. Music's awesome, but you got to eat,
right?
And people don't. I still, don't get that about what people think about artists of any genre or various things. It's great, but it's a career,
Yeah. Well, I would ask people if they wanted to contribute, whatever they wanted to contribute through PayPal, and they did that. And then I was kind of working with animal associations too, so I would give a part of the proceeds to a different animal organization every week. So I kind of tied in those two things, and it worked out. I had a pretty decent audience.
You got a lot accomplished with the music then. See, that you spread it out, and that's what it should be. You should spread the love. It's
that was
not
totally
to sound hokey, but you spread out that thing, and then you reach more people that way.
Yeah,
because you kind of have it out, out there in different branches. It's nice.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, and at one point I was I was looking at the comments, and I realized there were people from 7 different countries on the stream, and I was like,
I got
this
mail
is cool.
from Canada for this.
This is international. Yeah, so that's just really
that
that's
actually
one of the
brought
greatest.
Out of the ballpark question in terms of animals. Is there anything different in France and stuff you see roaming around than around here?
No possums?
No, well, not in Paris. No,
Snapping turtles.
No, the one thing about you don't see chipmunks in France. I don't think they have any chipmunks.
I'm going there.
Because I always try to describe what they are, and people are like, "Oh, a squirrel." It's like, no, a chipmunk. But yeah, they're just not really a thing over there. No, exactly. They're kind of like, huh? So yeah, and raccoons, I guess, are more of a North American thing too. So, but I mean, in Paris, you don't see any of them walking around anywhere. You see a lot
birds,
of crows.
A lot of crows.
Lots of crows, and there are actually seagulls once in a while in Paris. I don't know why.
Probably because people throw a lot of food on the ground or something.
Yeah.
I guess so, yeah. But otherwise...
Like San Francisco or something.
And smaller. In general, animals are smaller. We were just commenting with my sister. When you do see a squirrel, the European squirrels are smaller. Whereas in the U.S., they're whoa, with the big bushy tails. Yeah,
it's like America.
Everything's
we're
bigger.
all too big in America.
Exactly.
That's because we
the cars
throw
are
out
bigger.
more trash, and they can get into more stuff, and I'm sure they don't waste as much stuff in Europe.
I'm horrible that, though, because I'm one of those softies, so I'm feeding the birds. I do not give them garbage. I will give them...
Oh, yeah.
But then I'm telling them, no bread for you.
Yeah.
No, you're going to get this. So people I find pepperoni out there or bread people through the daily parts.
What? Oh no!
You wonder why they have stomach issues, right?
Oh man, yeah.
I love that though. Even in America, even the animals.
Yep.
So I was looking at your CD there.
Yeah, let's get into
First of all, I was going to ask you: is that available locally? Can we get it at the stores and stuff?
I think you probably can get it through Amazon. Yeah, I don't know if it's physically in the stores anymore. It came out in May, so but you can definitely get it online. You can download it. Yeah, it's on Spotify. It's on all the major platforms for sure. Yeah.
Every time there's a water picture, I'm always looking for a shark fin.
Now,
that was taken
sharks.
in Michigan.
Yes, this was on the UP in a park called Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park.
That was my stupid reference to the Porkies. earlier.
Yeah, and they
I
call
thought
it
you
the
meant the
Porkies.
movie. I'm like wondering,
No,
where
no.
did you get Porky in this gross sex?
Midnight
Nothing
at
to do.
Porkies.
It was a bizarre. Yeah, thinking about it now, but no, they call them the Porkies, Porky Mountains,
Hey, we.
up there in the on the Canadian border, pretty much, almost on the border with Michigan and Wisconsin.
Oh,
There's
wow.
this giant park, Wilderness State Park, and that's where I was chosen to do an artist residency in September 2020.
Was there any connection with that, with Paris, as far as the French thing? Or
Well,
no?
Sault
I'm
Ste.
just- I'm
Marie's
just
across
asking.
the
I'm
border.
ignorant,
So.
No, it was just my sister sent me this link because she knows I like to do like wild things every once in a while to find new inspiration. She sent it to me. I thought, well, I was born in Michigan. It could be kind of cool. And I didn't think I'd actually, be chosen. But maybe
Wow.
because I was technically coming from France, maybe that, the exotic thing happening again. Maybe that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons I was chosen.
They didn't put in like the mileage you had to fly over there.
No, not that. But I was coming over to the U.S. anyway to visit my dad, so I just, went over to Michigan.
My geography's never been that good.
I know.
never
Like I
could
said, I'm
understand.
being a hockey fan. I know Sault Ste. Marie's above it because so many hockey players come there.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
See what you know from like stupid stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I was just saying I could never
Plus,
understand
Canada,
the
Greg.
difference.
Canada is attached to the U.S.
I
Like, on
understand
top.
that, but I never could understand like Detroit, and they didn't seem like how is Detroit even close to Canada? I could never understand. To me, I don't. I guess I don't get it. It doesn't seem north to me.
No, and Detroit's not far enough north. I mean, you have Michigan, and then the UP is way up here.
But I mean,
Lake Superior.
yeah, but even because I mean, I did some stuff in Michigan, and Canada's only such and such away, and I'm like, Canada, really? I don't know. I guess not, because I'm so used to the Canada connection we have here.
Yeah, it's
But
closer.
that
here.
makes sense to me because Buffalo and the river and the lake and stuff. But I guess I couldn't. I don't know. Never mind.
Yep. No,
We won't
I'm-
talk about
I'm ignorant
French
on
geography,
geography.
what's close to Spain with them or anything
Right.
after doing that.
Yeah.
But when you go into like doing your albums, you're a very creative person. Do you have like a little bit of plan what it's going to sound like for this one? Like the first time you went is like, let's see where this goes.
I guess I had a little bit of an idea. I guess I knew it would be kind of folk because I had been working on guitar recently, and I knew that I would only have guitar. And one thing I really wanted to do with this album was see how my voice would come out and be the most natural possible, because I've like taken so many voice lessons and sung with so many groups where I had to sound a certain way. So I kind of forgot how my voice naturally sounded, So I was like, I want this all to be as authentic as possible. And
No, it's
that
like
was
going
pretty
to the
much all I
studio. It's
thought.
like Greg, when you're like
Yeah.
working with people sometimes and you go in, do you ever go in, you have a game plan, you're going to play this, do this. You ever come out, whatever comes out is like almost totally different than you imagined when
Yeah.
you came in?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
what you think they want isn't maybe what they want, or I might go in thinking, they might want me to lay back a little bit, and the guy might go, go nuts, make it, play it up, play it as hard as play it hard and throw some stuff in there. I'm like, well, okay.
Oh, cool.
Then I got to think about it right away because I wasn't planning on that. So yeah, it can be daunting.
And you do know the one funny from Rochester now, no matter where you were, like if you're in Paris or whatever else. The only thing you ever hear about Rochester, any friend who visits here, any band, the one thing you hear every time, the garbage plate.
Oh, right. Yeah. I have yet to have a garbage plate. I've heard a lot about them. Do you
Oh.
guys have them pretty often? Like,
I don't eat. No, I don't
I
eat them
used
at
to.
all.
I haven't had one in a while because I had an issue with tonsil cancer last year.
All
So
right.
my eating has gotten a little.
That's
bit
all we
limited.
do when we've
But
had guests on Zoom or
I'm
whatever.
having one
What's
when I get
anybody
better.
anybody has to do? It's like you got to have a garbage plate here. I'm like, oh come on, don't we have any culture? Like, don't go to a museum. Don't go do this. Son House never lived here. No,
Right. I know we have a lot of urban myths, but we did have the Pithot Club though. We had a great jazz.
Yeah,
scene
that
here in
was the
60s.
Pithot Club. I heard stories like about Muddy Waters, and I didn't realize like around some. But Howlin' Wolf would give you like a 3.5 hour set. Muddy Waters would be out talking to people at the bar while his band played, then come back and
Wow.
write songs. Which is like kind of cool though in a way, if you think about it. But
Yeah.
let's go through a little bit of the songs and stuff and how this came about. And like, do you have any good stories behind the songs?
Well, yeah, because that was another thing with this. I really just want to kind of like see how nature inspired me, because I've been living in smack in the center of Paris for so many years. I was like, had to do something totally different and just like sit and listen to the water. You know, I went to visit waterfalls and I was like getting inspired by water. So there are a lot of like natural elements that inspired them. You know, there's a song about water. There's a song about...
Quite a few songs on there, I noticed.
Yeah. There's a song, Scared, which is a blues, because the first night I was there by myself in the middle of the woods, I was petrified, you know? Yeah. Hearing all these really unfamiliar noises, and I've probably seen too many movies, you know? They're like,
got me
hatchet murderer is going to show up or something, you know? It's
I'm
like,
walking
he's behind
my
you,
dog.
he's behind you.
Yeah.
I'm walking my dog through the woods. It's usually peace. I hear this noise, and it's like, what is that?
Yeah.
It was a fox.
Oh, yeah.
But they make these screechy.
Yeah.
You know, and I think snakes get such a bad reputation because snakes, might freak some. They're very docile for the most part. I mean, there's a couple crazy breeds that you don't want to mess with.
But, they're more scared of you than you are of them.
They are, like, most of the time, like, there's a story, like, one person, the rattlesnake was, like, close as your boot. Mm-hmm. You didn't know. It waited to go away. It's not going to try to, you know, but people, they're horrible. No, they're actually really nice. I mean, some of the big ones can eat you, yes, but they don't mean it.
Yeah.
But they're so misunderstood, and I think, and then you get, like, more people are probably killed by cows per year.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Could be, yep.
Violent cows.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of different stuff in there. There's one inspired by the stars. There's one tribute to a caveman because I was like building fires every night. And like my scouting years were so far in the past, it was like a real challenge
when you do
to build a fire every night. There's a wood burning stove, so I just had to like get it going because otherwise it was freezing in the cabin. You know, I was by myself, no heat, no running water, no electricity. So
see, some people like Don Costarelli when he wrote Phantasm, he wanted to be in a cabin in the woods by himself. So it would be freaky. So it would write the freaky.
That was a lot.
You don't want to think about that or like H.P. Lovecraft stories with things from a Pluto, you know, harvesting stuff in the woods.
Yeah. No, it gets you out of your comfort zone big time for sure. But so I had loads of time just to like play with different lyrics and find different sounds and do stuff on guitar. But I, did a lot of hiking too and.
I think that's awesome, though, because we were talking about this, all our interesting conversations before we start taping, but we're so distracted these days.
Yep.
There's so many, I always say, like, ancient people weren't dumb. Archimedes, he had 30 years to look at this, where we're all over the place, like, look, a pigeon. You know, we're like Pavlov's dogs when our phone... You know, Greg's texting me over there, like, where he is. Like, but I'm like, I'll talk to you, but wait a second, it's going off. Here's another message. We got this, like, you get a notification. Well, you could just unplug for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and people there were chilled. I mean, once in a while I would take the car and go to the visitor center, which was a couple miles away, because they did have Wi-Fi there if I needed to check email. But they had no phone reception. And I was like, but what? I mean, there's no phone. They're like, no. They didn't care. There's no phone reception at all in the park. So I had couldn't text anyone for 2 weeks.
Well, always bring somebody bring somebody slow, like bring me or Greg, because if a bear starts chasing you, don't have to be faster than the bear, you're just faster than us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll be a distraction.
Yeah. So it was great for that too.
Why were you alone in the cabin? I mean, why were you doing this?
I chose to be alone. It was an artist residency. Okay. And they invite like 5 or 6 artists per year to spend either 2 or 3 weeks in the cabin. I could have brought, maybe my partner or a friend or whatnot, but I wanted to be alone.
Or anything? Do they bring like food or anything? Or do you hunt? Because I'm like against hunting.
No, I don't hunt. No.
Did you have to go out there with a bow and arrow?
No. Well, there was a supermarket like 10 miles away, so I went and I just really had to like plan. I would go shopping and I would buy ice. There was a cooler, and I would keep stuff.
That's like
full.
I read for a while. I had this fascination with the frontier, and I was going to go to grad school in Wyoming, and I was reading about it. And it would say like people who lived like in the mountains, like they would say like you get the frontier mentality, the cowboy mentality. People would be gone within a year. And they said like some people where you live, you might not go to town like. Maybe like once or twice like in a year, because what happened was it would be so bad out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, I remember one time again back when I did this Europe thing. We were in, I think it was in Baden-Baden in Germany. So I did something you could probably relate to this. I just decided, well, I'm just going to get on a bus and go wherever this bus is going.
Good for you.
And the bus let me out. All of a sudden I started seeing a lot of woods and stuff, so I told the guy to let me out. And I just started walking. I just started walking through this Hansel and Gretel world here, and it was really weird. And then all of a sudden, I come, and I'm just looking around, and it was nice. And I just had my Walkman, I'm just rocking out. But all of a sudden, there's this post office, this cottage of a post office in the middle of the woods, and I went in there, and they straightened me out, and then I got somebody to come get me.
You didn't find
I was like 10 miles away.
You didn't run into a
whatever.
gingerbread house and get somebody. You clean the little oven here for me.
I was 10 miles away from where I was supposed to be.
Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
I love those little adventures. I used to always just love to drive and find some small town place or whatever and find everything. And you're thing about you is I think you're a very creative person. And what I like is you never know. I love what kind of inspiration is going to hit you. You probably don't even know.
Yeah.
I'll do an album about recipes.
Yeah. No, that's definitely the fascinating part about it.
Yeah, you're never going to run out of ideas or whatever.
Yeah.
I think as long as you're alive.
Yeah, well, I certainly hope not. I mean, this was really a great experience, and it was...
Maybe reggae, because I always kid Greg about... No, I always say, people don't get it. Greg could speak to this about how hard reggae drumming is.
Yeah.
I've heard that, yeah.
I think
there's different kinds. There's, different grooves, just like everything else.
But it sounds, that's the illusion, though. It sounds, if you're listening to it, so simple.
The thing with that is you have to... That music is sort of... compartmentalized as far as everybody has to stay in their little space and has their little part and rhythm because all the rhythms kind of stack up and intertwine. So it's you know what I mean. You can't play much more than that on the guitar or the keyboard because and then the drums kind of fill in the rest of it. Yeah, and it's interesting, all right. And then the bass parts are always really cool.
Yeah.
And I have to make this sort of holiday-ish because we have our, seasonal shows. We don't even talk about the holiday. But I could just say, Joyeux Noel and pronounce it wrong.
Merci.
But it's French.
Yeah, Joyeux Noel.
Somehow you did it a lot better than me. Have you been there? But I was just going to ask, does anybody have, a favorite Christmas cookie?
Christmas cookie.
Holiday cookie, whatever.
Huh.
See, we ask the tough questions on this show. You can't.
Oh, boy.
I don't know. Oh, gee. I'm just a
whatever anybody gives you or what's
guy.
at Wegmans.
Yeah.
I'm a butter cookie guy. I like simple stuff.
I was at Wegmans recently, and I saw those with the really thick frosting. I think that I'll go for those, yeah.
I like those Italian rainbow cookies.
Oh, yeah. Those are good, too.
Those are good. Now, French pastries. Now we're talking, the real deal.
Right.
Now, if you go into, that's the thing, my problem would be, if I lived there, like I said, if I went to a bakery there or something, could they have, a sign, Americans can only buy 4 or something?
Yeah, no, there's some great stuff.
That's I really have to ask this question then about for cultural differences. This is huge, how is the coffee there?
Oh, that is a big question. Yeah.
This hinges on if I'm going to go get citizenship or not. Maybe.
Oh, okay. Great coffee. You can get all different kinds of coffee in France. But it's funny because I spend a lot of time in Italy, too. And the Italians are big coffee snobs because the coffee's actually, the little espressos, it's supposed to be much better in Italy than in France.
Now there's going to be a big fight about that. It's like the Santa Claus war between Sweden and Finland.
Yeah.
I was over there.
Yeah.
But I remember I had Turkish coffee once on a flight.
Oh, yeah,
my professor, but they used to have it at Pittsford Wagons. They don't have it anymore. My professor I had one and...
Yeah, but the Turkish one, the spoons stand straight up in it. It's so
it's got that stuff at the end.
Yeah.
But I've heard now, and there's a site for it that somebody told me Yemeni coffee is really, but the thing it's so expensive it could be as good as it wants. I'm not gonna.
Coffee resin.
Yeah, no. France is definitely a great coffee country too. Yeah, get the café crème, with the cream in it.
Oh, it's time to get my visa in order.
Yeah, well,
okay.
Yep.
That was the one thing I liked too. I'm sure you experienced this, but just sitting out on a sidewalk cafe type of thing.
Yes.
They try to do that here, but I don't know.
No,
people in a hurry.
That's actually
people don't like to hang around.
The cafes in Europe, it's you think of Van Gogh with the cafe scene, but anywhere I've ever been in Europe, like Warsaw, you sit down, you have your tea or whatever, you're in the cafe, you just people watch and everything.
Yeah.
And here people are you try it, but people are all on the move.
That's it. Yeah.
It's a more relaxed type of thing, which we need again. I think. I figure.
Yeah, I love it. That's one
but
thing I love about it.
You're going to probably one day do with an orchestra.
That is one of my dreams too. It's just I gotta get it worked out, because even trying to find people, get them all together to do a session, like 20 people, that would be huge. I'd love to do a big band album, but like a wacky big band album, like Esquivel, this big band leader, Mexican guy from the 60s, who would do this really like cartoonish big band music. I'd like to do something with that.
And I think it's like when you have talent too, because it's like
Esquivel, huge.
Like Victor Borga, who the funny part about him was he was comical, but you don't realize how good a great player he was.
Yeah.
But he could do all this stuff because he was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so easy.
Or another
for
one,
him.
Liberace. My mom wanted to go see him. My dad didn't want to go, so she went. He went with her. He came back. He was like the biggest Liberace fan. Because he had all the glitz. He was like Elton John with the stuff.
Yeah,
but
I love
he was
that.
great, and he practiced like 8 hours a day.
Yeah, I love that. I like.
Except that evil twin brother Harry of his.
Batman. He's talking about a Batman episode.
Oh no.
He had Liberace as a villain.
Okay.
In one of the.
He had the evil brother. He had what was like, that was like really. You don't like Batman?
That was.
I
that
like
was
Batman,
but
for
you know
sure.
what? That was good acting chops because you'd never in a million years think he could do something like that. And he's like, he's all Edward G, and all that and kind of thing. But I was like, wow. That's pretty impressive.
Wow, I got to check that one out.
No, that's what I just think I'm lost in the old shows these days.
They're great.
Kids today, I can't relate to these shows.
I hear you.
I started
though.
watching a UK cop show on Crackle. It was called Mercy Beat or Beat something or other, and it was just kind of like everybody in the unit, whatever, there's this thing going on with these two, and then this thing's going on with this guy, and one cop was on trial, and he escapes because he doesn't want to go to prison, and it was like, that's all in the first episode.
Oh my gosh, wow.
I was just watching the French Color trilogy, Blue, Black, and Rouge, which I love. Julie Delpy, Julie Binoche and everything.
Yeah, sure. I remember those.
I love
back
UK
in the day.
TV. To me, it's much better.
Well, Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who, which is like one of those things.
There's a lot of good old stuff.
But this has been really awesome, as always, with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm glad, thank you, Patreon supporters, for the private jet.
Yes, thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Rest in peace, Dino Denelli. Yes. Right, Andy?
You got it, brother.
All right.
And I'll say it I'll bring back that story for the holidays. Gene Cornish always played those gigs at the House of Guitars. And I remember I talked to him. Our parents, when my mom had passed, his mom had passed, he played Sleepwalk. I talked to him. I have these old pictures of Gene Cornish somewhere when he was a kid. And I talked to him about our moms used to play bingo. So he goes, go see that lady up there. And she played bingo with my mom and everything. So I wasn't like a weird person. We played bingo.
Yeah.
His dad had a bait shop on Clinton Avenue.
Yeah.
Cornish.
I got to find out. My mom said where they grew up because they used to go play bingo all the time. And I know I have pictures of little Gene somewhere.
Yeah, well, I know the shop was on Clinton Avenue, like toward Norton Street. Cornish Bait and Tackle or something. It was like, one of those old style.
Yeah. But, Greg, anything coming up for you for the holidays?
Not really. I played last night at a place on the west side, which was actually pretty fun.
These places are popping up all over the place now. New places are to me.
Yeah, I don't really have too much going on. I have something at St. John's home there. It's like a noontime thing, but that's like a private thing.
Well, if there's actually our good friend Grace Browning, there's a thing called Harpy Hour with Grace Browning at the Triple U Art Collective on the 21st at 6 to 7. Suggested donation about $25 or whatever. It's down on State Street 153, and should be pretty good. And actually, the weather's not supposed to get horrible till later in the week after you're safely gone.
Yes, exactly. Let's hope so. Yeah, crossing
Thursday,
fingers.
I guess it's supposed to drop. This week's going to be pretty good up to there.
I'm traveling Thursday.
And actually, the one other thing I thought about for you, because some of my friends have done it. Have you ever thought about just doing like world music, like something from everywhere?
I've thought about it. It's not quite as natural for me, so it would be kind of a I don't know.
See, somebody like you can ask tons of questions what you're going to do, so I don't think there's any limit to what you can do.
Okay, well, that's great to hear. Yeah, who knows? I don't know what's going to happen next.
No, but what's coming up, like you're probably not playing here, I take it, unless...
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to do like Let It Be, where you can go on the roof of the studio afterwards?
Right, maybe, yeah.
But are you going to be playing back in France? And
I am, yeah. So my next gig is actually on New Year's Eve in Western France, in a really beautiful
town. So if
town.
anybody would like to go from here, get those flights.
Please do, because actually it's in a town called La Rochelle, which is right on the water in Western France, and it's an absolutely beautiful city. And I'm playing with a vocal group, so it's really fun.
So what do you got to rehearse for?
Electro a cappella group. Well, we've already done like about 150 shows with this particular show, so we kind of got it down. You know, we're going to have a rehearsal on the day of the concert.
Is it way different than what you're used to doing, or just another style?
Well, it's a group I've been singing with for like 15 years, and we do a lot of like strange sounds and like working with loops and like guitar sounds and trombone sounds.
Is it going to be recorded or anything, or like not, or no? Or
we've done a few albums with them, so yeah,
that's cool. That's what I mean. It's like it's so much easier to like do out of the box.
Yes,
because it's art. To them, it's art.
Yes,
I mean it's viewed as art there.
Yeah,
here it's just they're weird. You know.
Yeah, that's my big pet peeve around here. I always keep saying, go see what you like. That's one of the mottos of the show. Go see what you don't know, though. You never know.
Right. Yeah.
And I wish, like some people, and I've gotten that pushback from so many people when I try to introduce them to stuff. They're like, you want to go see this cover band? It's like, they're cool if you like it, but come on, why don't you go see something else?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's one thing I love about this particular vocal group is they really push the limits of like what vocals can sound like and what a cappella sounds like. It's not like the bop doo bop ba doo. It's not at all like that.
No, but I want to toss that term out because one of my friends said it at her show, so I want to show. I have no idea what it is. I want to sound pedantic though.
Yeah,
I still don't know what it is, but I guess she sung it.
Oh, yeah.
That's really cool though. That'll be fun. How is their New Year's Eve? I've been to Hungary for New Year's Eve.
Oh, interesting.
In Budapest. That was awesome.
I bet. Yeah.
Oh, when you're younger and you're at a beer garden in Zakopane and the beer is like 30 cents American,
there you go.
Send out the search party. But that was
right.
But how are New Year's in Paris? It sounds like so awesome to be in Paris for New Year's.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of champagne. Obviously, that's the thing. That's the big thing. And people have dinner parties and really long dinner parties and music. Probably like in the States, people have. There's no ball dropping or no.
No.
The Eiffel Tower doesn't like party.
Oh, but the Eiffel Tower sparkles every hour on the hour. They have these blinking lights, which are really spectacular.
Celebrated more literally, like the end of the old, beginning of the new. Mentality-wise, or is it just Yahoo? Let's party.
I guess there's the same kind of thing. People ask what their resolutions are, and that lasts about 3 days, and then
I've always said
that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, my resolution lasted till 2 PM on the 1st.
Yeah, I'm going to quit smoking or whatever.
Gym memberships soar January 2nd. Gym
Yeah.
memberships die January 4th.
Yeah.
Very cool. And again, you're always welcome back. Be it here.
Yeah,
on the Zoom.
thank you. I'm great.
And we have. What are we going to now? You
you
were going to pick it. We won't let Greg pick it. You're the artist.
Well, I was thinking about that country one called Brown. I thought that might be.
Is there any
good
backstory to it, or just?
It was just like I was out hiking and I was impressed by all the different kinds of brown you see in nature. I was never like
leaves, all like old leaves, all trees.
The leaves and the mud and the different kinds of wood and the cabin and the trees and then the bugs so I just kind of like started improvising on that.
You've given me a project
cool. Lyrics
for the spring.
Got kind of kooky. So.
Next time I'm in the woods, I'm going to bring like a pad in the spring and count down all the different colors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Think about that. That's really cool.
Sure, for sure. And so it turned into a really country tune, and I kind of working on my country cowboy stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. So check it out, and happy holidays, happy whatever to everybody. And Beepo Saves Christmas is on the CW this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy holidays. Great to be here.
Now we're going to hear what Brown can do for you.
Yeah. I'm handsome down Porky Mountain.
Brown is the anti-clown, turning color upside down. A no red nose on bucks and does. Brown is fur and earth. Brown. Coffee and tea that warm and wake, a bit of liquor and coke and cake, squirrels, chestnuts, bugs and slugs, stuff that's burnt or stuck on rugs. Brown. Shingles, cow spots, branches, curry, a teddy bear saying, don't worry, patch of brown peeping out of the snow, fertile home where green can grow. Brown. Not day. Oh, brown is the anti-clown, turning color upside down. And no red nose on bucks up Rudolph. Brown is fur and earth. A moose and goose and platypus, 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 said a moose and goose and platypus, said a moose and goose and platypus, a moose and goose and platypus, a moose and goose and platypus. Maybe ochre. Melting pots are also brown, making sure the world goes round. A perfect blend of day and night. Brown is rich in life. Brown. La 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 la. Brown. La 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 la. Brown, brown, brown. Brown is the anti-clown, turning color upside down. A no red nose on bucks and does. A brown is fur and earth. A brown is fur and earth. A brown is fur and earth. A brown is fur and earth.